everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to my Spiritual Money RX. This is your host, Vivian S. De Guzman, the #1 money magnet activator. And what would you do if you actually have the exact timing of the moon so that you can create and manifest the life that you desire? Today, we will be talking about October 2021 new moon in Libra, which means what do you do in your relationships? So, everybody knows that I actually host a monthly group healing intensive wherein we time the creation, which is the new moon, and also the manifestation circle, wherein whatever you have decided or what you desire in your life, using your own gifts and talents and using the power of the universe to bring it on so that you can manifest whatever you desire with ease, grace, and flow. So I'm going to talk about October 2021 because it's actually new moon coming up, right? In fact, new moon is happening October 6th, which is right now. So I was Googling like, what can you tell me a little bit about new moon? And this is about new moon in Libra, which we know is represented by the scale or balance, so that we can take a look at the relationships that we have now in this planet, right? So as I was Googling, I saw an article by Marissa Brown, Maressa Brown, right? And let's be honest. So relationships, it says here, are frequently top of mind for many people. But every year during the Libra season, which spans between September 22 and October 22, you may find that you're even more zeroed in on your one-on-one bonding. Why? Because the seventh sign of the zodiac, ruled by the planet of love and beauty, Venus, is all about finding harmony, especially when you pair up. So, but this year, the diplomacy loving signs new moon could actually spur more shock than serenity. So, the cardinal air sign will host a new moon that's exact on Wednesday, October 6th at 7:05 a.m. Eastern Time or 4:05 a.m. Pacific Time. So, it already happened, right? As you're watching the show. So, what does it do? It emphasizes balance in relationships, firing up your inner drive and possibly igniting volatile incidents stemming from unresolved anger. Here are all the details on how you can best navigate this intense lunar event. So, what does the new moon mean? Okay. So, just for basics, so as the astrological counterpoint to full moons, new moons happen when the moon is not illuminated by the sun from our perspective on Earth. So, it's hosted by a deep, dark, blank slate sky. And you might imagine that the new moon is offering up a vision board on which you can scribble your intentions. I actually share with my clients that during this time, they want to create the life that they desire, right? So new moons traditionally present a chance to get clear on long-term dreams, goals, and big picture projects. And in order to lock them in, you can practice a ritual like opening up to a therapist or a loved one. So that's what we do during our full moon and new moon circles. We journal, we actually set our intention in writing, lighting a candle, or we do a visualization practice. So think of it as your monthly and very rarely twice a month astrological nudge to pinpoint something you want to accomplish. Then design your ultimate action plan for getting there. So that's how we manifest it, right? So if you think of a new moon, it basically serves as like the first page of a whole new chapter in your life that will end in when there's a corresponding full moon in the same sign. So in this case, on April 16, 2022, when there's a full moon in Libra. Okay, so pro tip, write down what you've been reflecting on around the new moon and then circle back 6 months down the road when the corresponding full moon is happening. You can note how far you've come and quite possibly notice that you've hit a culmination point. All right. So what do we do during new moon, right? So I tell my clients when we do our creation and manifestation circle to either draw, right? So then they're not overthinking. They draw something on paper on what they'd like to manifest. And we focus on three things. It could be money or wealth, health, or their relationship. So first, it could be relationship with themselves, right? Because that needs to be ironed out so that you are congruent with really what you'd like to have in your life. Or it could be, if they've already worked on themselves, it's their relationship with their significant other. And I know some of you have had either direct, indirect, or partial indirect karma with your partner. Therefore, sometimes it takes a little bit longer than normal to get that squared away, right? So for some of us, it takes just a short time, but for some of us, it takes a longer time than usual. Sometimes it takes years to even reconcile or delete that karma, whether it's direct. Direct means it's between you and the partner. Indirect karma, it means it could be my family has a karma with the family of my husband, for example, or it could be an indirect partial karma wherein one of my children could have a karma with another person's ancestor, right, of my husband. That's why we connected together somehow. So these terminologies, because it's very, very important that you are clear with what you want to have in your relationship. So when you're doing a new moon clearing on, or when you're participating in one, clarity, right? The intention setting is super, super critical because it is a very wonderful thing to, during this time, to, let's say, initiate a new chapter with your partner. So maybe in the past you've been fighting and fighting. And if you look back, if you've done that more than 3 times, I would pause if I were you and take a look at what would you like to change in that dynamic, right? So if you know the end result of what you'd like to change in your relationship, definitely it would be a totally different story if you focus on what you'd like to create rather than what's really happening at this time. Okay. So obviously the theme for October 2021 is new moon in Libra, right? So air sign Libra, symbolized by the scales, is ruled by the heartfelt planet of love and beauty, Venus, and rules the seventh house of partnership, aka all types of one-on-one connections from romantic to platonic and professional. So people who have Libra placements are social, diplomatic, charming, idealistic, artistic, and inclined to bring balance, peacefulness, and prettiness into the world. They're people who frequently dedicate their time and energy to creating stunning, social media worthy moments for their nearest and dearest. But their ideal hang would involve just them and their sweetheart, who's just as much a fan of storybook romance. So that said, Libra new moons are usually a wonderful time to initiate a new chapter with a partner. Sure, the nature of your bond could be romantic, but Libra adores all kinds of one-on-one relating. So you might also enjoy a fresh start in the context of a friendship or collegial connection. It can also fuel the start of a project that involves beautifying. I remember my mom is a Libra. My youngest son is actually a Libra. And on the larger scale, the sign of the scales aims to root out injustice. So the theme could be prevalent as well. So, but just as fiercely as Libra might champion peace and justice, their sister sign Aries, the dynamic competitive cardinal fire sign, is adamant about going into battle. Sometimes because they're passionate about a cause, but other times just for the fun of it. Aries owes this vibe to their ruling planet, aggressive Mars, which will be tightly conjunct aka paired up with the new moon. Okay, so in and of itself, the moon being tied up with Mars can make for an amplified initiative taking energy. You could feel more assertive, you want to take charge, be fired up about plowing forward, and feel perhaps a little sparkier than usual if confronted. But since both these celestial bodies will be in graceful Libra, the instinct will be to keep the peace at all costs. So it is so cool to see, right, what's going on. But another planet in the picture can offer cause for concern. It's the game changer Uranus. So while Mars charges ambitiously after its desires, consequences be damned, electrifying Uranus just delivers stunning shakeups for better or worse. And both the new moon and Mars will form an awkward, challenging quincunx to Uranus, heightening tensions and making for nervous, anxious energy and potentially sudden, unexpected bursts of aggression. It also bears noting that Messenger Mercury is currently retrograde in Libra, which can spur miscommunication, technology glitches, which just happened yesterday, and transportation issues that set off or exacerbate new moon trouble. All that said, this new moon has the potential to inspire more balance and kick off a new chapter, especially in relationships. But it could also host difficult, game changing incidents fueled by anger, recklessness, and aggression. It's a case for striving to be as optimistic as you are cautious. Wow. So, really, every single month, what's your takeaway, right, for all these things that you're hearing? Because if you're not familiar with astrology, you probably think, what is she talking about? I just ask you to observe and be curious. So this is the takeaway, because every month there's a new moon, there's a full moon, right? No matter what sign a new moon falls in, it offers us a chance to gain clarity and move ahead. Okay? So the issue this month is that the key planets involved in the moon picture are on the volatile side. Mars is pushing for action, and Uranus is poised to spur uncomfortable change. And yet, Messenger Mercury is retrograde, encouraging us to go slow and stick with existing business until October 18th. So for that reason, it might be best to treat this new moon more like a full one, with the awareness that because the time is ripe for drama, it could pay to be especially vigilant, aware, and cautious. Plus, it never hurts to err on the side of low key. And if you're driven to take action, it'll be best to do so in the signature Libran way, prizing harmony and balance above all else. So, how do you do this in your relationship, right? So, understand that when you take the role of an observer, you release a lot of the judgments and the criticisms you have towards the other person that is more likely creating or igniting a fight between you and the person. I was reading this book called Healing Your Family History by Dr. Rebecca Linder Hintz. And when you have a partner, it could be romantic or non-romantic, or it could be just a relationship with another person, right? You can discover that through your conversations with people, you will discover that there are a lot of unmet needs. and emotional insecurities, and you can heal them through serving. What does that mean? So, like I said, if you are more aware and observant instead of judging or reacting immediately towards the other person, literally you give each other space. So, here are some examples that this therapist has heard, and it might be familiar to you. So then you can see that you can offer a compassionate heart to these people rather than engaging in a fight, right? So it's all about balance. Remember, it could be you're not familiar yet with your past life experiences, and you may have done something in the past that you're not quite conscious or aware of right now. So here's a few examples. Sean, a man raised by a family with an abusive history, said, "I'm not a good boy. There's something wrong with me. I'm not able to get what I want. I hate myself." So he was struggling to prove his worth in his career and to give and receive love in his relationships. So can you imagine if a person feels that way inside? It doesn't mean when they exit that door, they feel different because that emotion is there. It's almost like replaying in their head and in their heart over and over again. And until this person is really given that space and the attention, right? Whatever his unmet need is, it's not going to solve any problem, right? Another one. Margaret, a woman raised by divorced parents, said, "I feel as if I'm going to die, as if there's no room for me to be heard or to be important. I feel unloved and powerless. I feel as if everything that goes wrong is my fault." So this lady is suffering from depression. Okay. And how many people have that? I usually see it as like an energy on top of their head that's like pressing hard on them. That's depression, literally. And when you release that, they start to see the light of day and they actually start to see that there are other options aside from what they're thinking. All right, third, not the least, Joanne is a religious woman raised in an ideal home. Surprisingly answered, "I decided that I'm not good enough. I feel abandoned, all alone, and that I have to do everything myself. I feel like no one loves me because I'm not perfect." Joanne was divorced and living alone. She's been struggling with a pattern of perfectionism throughout her life. And by the way, when we struggle with perfectionism, we not only impose it on us, we also impose it on other people. So then you not feeling good enough is reflected to your partner as well. Therefore, who can measure up to that, right? So here are some examples of testimonials, right? That we've discovered there's an unmet need and emotional insecurities and healing them through serving, right? So for some people, it works well when they finally go outside of themselves and they start serving other people. And then they realize that they just reflect the mirror that they are to other people. It's fascinating to see that when we gather together, right? When we start to really balance our life out through interactions with other people, through like new moon healings like this, what you're going to see is the other person is not far away from you and your struggles. And the more you take a look closer at what's happening within you, then you actually have a chance of creating a different life. For me, I look at things if it has presented itself at least 3 times or more, that tells me that's significant. That issue is significant and it's worth looking at it within me. Okay. So we invite you to go to our creation and manifestation membership. I'm going to send the link here at the bottom. Okay. Normally we do this twice a month. So new moon is about creation. And then of course, the full moon is about manifestation. And we're actually doing this tonight at 5 to 6 p.m., the new moon healing. And we do it in a group, and you'll be surprised. There's so many testimonials already. Like somebody finally finalized their divorce. Somebody actually got the money that they were expecting from a settlement, from a lawsuit. And then some people, they're still discovering other things in their life. So then when there's a new issue that needs to be discovered, then they start having, let's say, leg pain, right? Because that means they're not moving forward from something. And your body is a great barometer for you to know what's going on within you. And the more you actually listen to it, and the more you can release what's causing the triggers, the better it would be. All right. So, want to invite you. We're going to do it tonight, October 6th, right? Today is new moon, and it's going to be at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. And we invite you, or if you know that it can benefit other people, please invite them to this new moon healing that we will be doing tonight. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I hope you enjoyed that segment about the new moon. And it's just being aware, right? Being aware what's in store for you, and you start deciding what you'd like to include in your life so that you can have a life of ease, grace, and flow. Bye for now, and I'll see you again next week for another episode of